Journal entry for Monday, December 29, 2025. I'm feeling quite a bit better, but I'm still sick. But still quite a bit better. So, God has healed me quite a bit, but not completely yet. So, um, excuse me. Um, I was practicing guitar, so I had this gunk on my fingers from my old strings. Um, they were supposed to be replaced, but they're still not replaced, and maybe they won't be. Just the more I think about it, the people at this church seem like good people, but anyone can have a spell cast over them. They have pork spirits too. This sounds ridiculous, but but I can tell who has them because they get highly offended about something that's not even offensive. Like, you know, if you're not allowed to eat ham and you tell someone that, then it's not a reason to be offended and treat people wrong. As I previously stated, it has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with immigrants. It has nothing to do with sexism. It has nothing to do with politics. There is no reason that people should get that angry about not eating pork. And also, anything you make with pork, you could just make with beef instead, and it would taste better. But they don't. They make it out of turkey on purpose, so it doesn't taste good. But I think that you can get some Jewish or Muslim pepperoni and stuff that's made out of beef. It's hard to find, but you can get it, and it tastes better. Anyways, today is what I was thinking is, the more I think about it, there was a news article, and I don't follow a lot of these because they're very basic, but it was like one of those videos that it like trends and people comment on it and then they make their own videos. And there was like some guy at Planet Fitness, or an employee, and then like this crazy woman ran up and attacked him, and then like his coworkers kind of stood there and did nothing. His coworkers stood there and did nothing. And I recognize and know what this is. And I think that I've got to put my thinking cap on, because God usually shows me things. But sometimes God veils me so that I can experience more. So I can learn like what people go through. And then I'm shown. So in this video, the two coworkers just sat and didn't do anything. And then I commented on this video. I normally don't care about these at all, but I just commented on it because there are evil spirits in those coworkers. Where if they were righteous, they would try to help or defend or do something. They would try to do something even if they were afraid. They would look like they were concerned, or maybe like call for help, even if they weren't physically able to fight, which, a lot of people would just try to do what they could, because, that would be 3 people versus one crazy person who is demon possessed, I am sure. But anyways, it's the evil spirits that cause them to stand by and watch as they have a targeted individual. And this may be what is in the preacher, or I want to say pastor, the pastor. So the pastor seems like a nice man, and I at first thought he was naive or just ignorant to what's going on. But actually, at the last breakfast, I think he noticed. Or if he didn't see, he would have to try not to see. I mean, they do things when you're not looking, but he is allowing certain people to come in, swoop in, steal all the good donations. He's allowing to come up and just grab everything, lick the desserts they want. There's plenty of desserts, actually. That could be fine. But when it comes to coats and blankets, I heard this was an issue for people that needed them. Certain people would come and get all of like the blanket sets and things. I don't know, because I have never been in the free shop. But it seems like this is something that the pastor is aware of and has not really stopped. Now, what he has done is, what I heard is, you used to be able to go and pick your fruit, and you can't do that anymore. Now they put them in a bag, and then they're messy, so your hands get sticky. Um, I still enjoy the fruit, but they've rationed the fruit, but not the blankets, not the coats, and nobody is watching. The communion is held after the food is passed out, so drinks can get things put in them, they can get messed with, the food can get tampered with, and so no one is watching this. And so, and also certain people are I've noticed some people associated with this church have demons. Now, it could be the case everywhere, honestly. Um, it could be this way, I don't know. But this is not what I saw at the church I went to previously. Actually, this is not what today's video is about. I'll probably have to make a new one. This is not what I saw at the previous church. Now, it could be that God just didn't show that to me, or it could be that they were under spells, and at this church, there are certain demon-possessed individuals being used to keep me and other similar people out, or keep good people out. Where they stand by and allow injustices to happen. And these injustices are small, minor things. But they were things that would make people feel uncomfortable and not come back. And then the addicts and alcoholics take over the free breakfasts again. And then normal people with families don't feel comfortable, don't feel safe coming to a place like this. Because no one is watching. Another thing is the couple that seems like nice people, they did seem like they were good people, and I still think so. But when they come up while I'm already sitting down and I have my plate, and then right in front of everybody else, they're like, "Are you okay?" In front of are you okay? Is everything okay? Right in front of everyone. That's not how you do it. I kind of made it clear, you can't leave your stuff. And then I made it clear I left my napkin on top of my drink. You don't walk up and say this in front of, 50 addicts and alcoholics. You don't say... That makes it look like we are weak and pathetic. And that's not how... we win them over by they try their hardest and they still lose. So, of course, the only thing I can say is nothing. I can't... Oh, no, I'm not okay. I can't go to the bathroom. I can't rinse my fingers, or someone will put poison in my... What do you want me to go and whine? What do they seriously expect? So if this isn't a setup, they just aren't aware. Like, they possibly don't know that there are evil people. And there are a lot of evil people. And anyone with a demon actually will do something rude. But also, there are some volunteers there, it seems, that they are serving things. And they... not all. Some are not. Some I'm sure are good. But some of them also are very rude, and they are possibly used to keep good people out because of the way that they behave, how disrespectful they are. Like, when I first showed up and someone, cussing me out, I never expected it. It didn't affect me. I didn't go and cry. I was surprised because I've never seen something that's so ridiculous. That was an attempt to keep me out. So I'm thinking maybe the pastor is aware of this. Maybe the pastor is even working with them, and he is being calm because he has his pork spirits. He has his pork spirits and does not want to give them up clearly. So I'm going to have to tell him next time. And this is the way it is. They offer a free breakfast, so I'm going to have to let him know. It has nothing to do with whether the free breakfast is there or not. Every time somebody does something nice for me, then I have to offend them. This is like God's rules, I guess. But I think that he is already trying to kick me out. Or if he's got pork spirits in him. Because then he was kind of blocking the water when I wanted some water. And the other addicts, like allowing things to happen and then also, like, saying you're going to do something, pushing it off. This is all spiritual warfare, but it's also inappropriate. I would never do any of these things to someone. I would never do that. So, and when they say, also, they seem like good people, also, like, saying that, if you don't eat it, maybe for you don't eat it. I don't remember exactly what they said. But they also said something like your choice, and it's, no, No, this is God's law for all humans. And so I'm just going to have to make it clear. Even though a week from today they said they'd replace my strings. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to tell them. I'm going to have to tell them. And then if they don't replace my strings because of it, that's fine. That's fine. This is probably held over my head. Well, I could get new strings on my guitar. You know, I think I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell them the week before. So they can back out of that again when I tell them the truth from the God, one true living God, our Lord in heaven, who has said we are not allowed to eat pork. And this will likely fall through. And then there's a little hint, is they did not want to go in front of my property. They kind of stopped at the edge to let me out. So I thought one of these people might actually be a hidden enemy. like, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're both good. Maybe just one is good. But anyways, the case with the Revenant is usually one is good and they are with a counterfeit. But I don't know. This is just my suspicions based on personal history and what I've seen, like experience. So this has nothing to do with today's video. It was supposed to be a journal entry, but I'm going to say, like, tomorrow, or actually I'm not going to tell them tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. There's something else going on. I've got to tell those people about pork. This is the Addicts and Alcoholics Recovery meeting. Addiction and Recovery and Hope meeting. So I might have to mention about pork there. Watch, they'll just have pepperoni again, and then there's nothing I can eat. I guess that's the way it is. If that's what happens, then that's what happens. I do not fast for no reason. I don't do it. God has me eating. But when I do fast is when there's only pork. If there's only pork and there's nothing I can eat, I will fast. I'm not going to fast for no reason. There's this idea of like abstaining from food. There are certain times when you're called to do it, and there's times where it can be good. But I also think there's a misunderstanding to where like for Ramadan we are called to fast from food. But in driving out demons, certain demons only come out with fasting. I think that fasting pertains to the sin itself. Like if you want to exorcise a lying spirit, then you have to fast from lying. So there's more than one type. Like if you're addicted to cigarettes, then you have to fast from cigarettes for that spirit. So it's not just food, is what I'm saying. And so if there is ham and there's only ham, then I will fast. That's like no matter what. It doesn't matter how hungry I am. But I do not fast for no reason. I've already done food fasting in the past. Now I just go to the soup kitchen. I'm going to eat the food there. So just watch. There'll be a problem. They can't replace my strings because we're not allowed to eat ham. That was mentioned. It wasn't rude, but they don't seem to understand is you aren't allowed to eat because I'm not trying to be mean. I try to politely say things, and maybe that's the problem. They say, well, maybe you don't, that your belief. No, this is God's belief. If this was just my belief, I wouldn't be telling you that. I wouldn't tell you that we are not allowed to eat pork if this is my belief. But maybe others don't care. Nobody else cares. Nobody else cares. You see a whole room of addicts, and then they grab that bacon, and they grab that sausage, and they eat it, and they don't give two shits. But then I'm different. I'm not like them, but I don't eat it. So, I mean, there are some clues, like, I try to be nice to everybody. And so, maybe not consuming these products is helpful. Anyways. So, New Year's is coming up. There's just a few days where the soup kitchen is going to be closed, and it looks like maybe there'll be something in the parking lot one day. I went to the soup kitchen at lunch, and I think the verse, the small short sermon, the verse was Colossians 3:9, and it was just something quickly mentioned. I missed some of it, but like people saying they were Christian, but they were not, and so that was good. That we have to take action, I believe, is the point. That was a good message. I remember I called like 3 times the gas company. I called the gas company 3 times today. I even like had the phone on hold, like sitting there. I had it on speakerphone. It's on for like an hour almost. No one answers. Um, they need to come out and like service everybody's gas line, but then when you try to call, no one answers. So they said, oh, we could shut off your gas if you don't. Yeah, when it's 10 degrees outside, you're going to shut off the heat in my house, but when I try to call, no one answers. We're supposed to schedule a time they can come into our yard. I have dogs in my yard. So they came over, like they do to everybody. They just come to my yard when I'm not there. And they're like, oh, there's dogs there. So then they send me this thing in the mail, like saying, before the 5th, we need to service this in your yard, schedule an appointment. Okay, great. Then I try to call and schedule an appointment, and no one answers the phone. As I said, they want to basically schedule an appointment, and they might be there then, or they might be there later, and who knows when they actually show up. But I said, I just need them to knock on my door so I can put the dog door in. Make sure I'm home. And so I called and I finally got the number of a specialist, and I keep trying to call it, no one answers. So if they turn off my heat, then I'm going to go, I guess I'm going to go to the lawyer in town. It's not about the people that screwed me over personally. This is ridiculous that you're going to shut people's gas off, which the houses in this neighborhood, they're old houses, they have gas heat. So it's the coldest like time in the winter. Like, you're going to shut off the heat in their house? You're going to kill people? What is this about? Because you decided, oh, we need to go and check something on your meter. That's fine. And I say, and I try to tell everybody. I was on the phone, and they're like, I can't do that. I can't do anything here. Only the specialists can do this, where you have to knock on the door first so that I can put the dogs in the house. Yeah, I do. I'm not going to put them in the house all day long. And then who knows what day they show up. They could let my dogs out. No, this is inappropriate. Everybody that fucks me over, I'm going to be famous in the future. I'm going to be famous because I love God. I'm going to be famous because I do what's right and I treat others well. And everybody shits on me all day. So, and it's not just me. All of the believers, God's remnant, we are going to be famous. And people that have done us wrong will be exposed. And a gas company, I have tried to call them, like, I don't know, 7 different times now. I'm not even sure. And then they were closed for the holidays. Like, they want to do this service, but then it was like Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then they're on vacation, and then there's a whole bunch of people calling, and there's not enough people answering the phone, if there is anyone at all. How do I even know that someone's answering the phone? This is ridiculous. And then it's like, if we can't do it, we can shut off your gas. Well, then I'm going to go get a lawyer. Like, I've had enough of this. I'm not allowed to get a lawyer for the people that already got their karma. But this is something different, and I just might do it. It was something weird, too. I don't, they said, well, we'll text you when we're on our way. And so then I tell them, I don't have a cell phone. So they said, they'll give you a window, and we'll try to be there at the time. I gotta go get my lunch, I gotta get my dinner, I gotta go to churches, I don't have a cell phone, and I don't have a car, and I don't have anyone else. This is my house. And I said, I just need someone to knock on my door, and then I will put the dogs in the house. I'm not gonna leave them in the house for 10 hours, because, you want them to shit all over my house? I mean, is this what you want? I mean, they might be able to hold it, but I don't have to do that. I'm afraid at this point, like, if I leave my house, that they will just come in unannounced and go into my yard, open the gate, and then if they see my dogs run away and then they get loose, like, I don't know what is going on, but this is ridiculous. Everything is automated. Nothing... It's like there's this like one process that everyone goes through, and like you can't get to management, you can't get help. It's like, this is the way we do it. That's why they just called me again today for this Brightspeed. And I was really interested in it when I first moved here, but now I'm not very interested because of their customer service. They can't do anything. It's like where they're so limited, and then nobody was able to just fix my invoice. Like no one could do it, and then there's no place I could go to either. So with that type of customer service, and they called me again, I might have to tell them, like, I might have to cancel it. I canceled it already because of what this man did. This man had his demons, and what he treated me was disrespectful. So I'm not happy about that. Um, so I'll see the person that called me. If it was him, then I will tell him on the phone. Um, I'll tell him that on the phone. Because I really was not treated with respect. They did not tell me what different services they had. He touched dirt and then went to shake my hand. And we had to keep sending the invoice like 3 or 4 different times, and then it was still wrong. No thank you. Yeah, I just don't know. Um, if this is the same man or someone else. And then when I try to get it fixed, they can't do it. So, um, just everything is a pain in the butt. Oh, what I'm talking about here. So the short sermon. It was a good message. Let's see. Oh, remember that big sale I had? That big sale I had a couple days ago, or it was on Okay, it sold on Sabbath, which is probably spiritual warfare. They can try to cause me trouble, and they probably will. But here's what happened. Is that they messaged me and said, if you haven't shipped yet, then I need to cancel. They sent this like a day after it sold or something. I don't know exactly. But it wasn't an hour later. It was like, uh, quite a bit later. And so I had went, and it took me a while. I had to get my lantern. I found the item, and then I was going through, because we can't use priority mail packaging anymore, and I found packaging and everything that fit. I spent like a half hour getting the stuff I needed for this. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like it's cold. I can't really see. My boxes are in weird places. Like my boxes are under stuff, and then like I don't have a whole lot of boxes left, so because you can't use priority anymore because the post office. And so I just invested all this time into getting the item, making sure it was right, bringing it out, and then I do need this money too. And so it sold on Sabbath, or they made the offer on Sabbaths, and so I waited until sundown on Saturday to accept the offer. But it was still like, maybe I accepted it at like 7 or 8 o'clock. And then it was like that whole night passed, and they didn't ask to cancel. And then when I went to get the item, and I spent all this time doing that, and then I had everything in the house now ready to ship it. And so I just ignored their message and shipped it. Like, I'm not going to put up with this. I understand this is probably witchcraft, but it wasn't like an hour later they asked to cancel. It was like 12 hours later or something. It was like the next, I don't really, maybe it was the next day. I don't know. But, I have a lot of problems where, like, there was a bunch of people placing offers right on Sabbath, but no other day. Or they purchased something on Sabbath and they wanted to return it. They purchased this on Sabbath and it was an expensive item, then they want to cancel it. No thank you. It's shipped. It went out this morning. And actually, I didn't ship it yet when you asked me to cancel it. But at that point, I had already went out. It was dark. I found the item. I got all the materials. I spent a long time doing this and brought it in. So it's going out anyways. My time is not free. Everybody, you think you can fuck me over? No. I've got boundaries now. I tried to be a good seller. All the problems with my business, it's not even my fault. I'm going to say honestly, it's not like people broke my stuff, people stole my stuff. I was forced to move. I moved an entire store myself, and then I've got like my whole servers down, my product images, like how much I paid for items, all that information is gone. I got an offer on something and I'm in debt. I took it. And so then after I invested all this time, the item's going out. Now, they might try to return it. They might cause me more trouble. But it went out today. It went out today. Um, and that's it. Maybe I should pray over this. Um, they still could cause trouble. Um, I think that's highly inappropriate to place an offer, and they also liked the item, and then they didn't cancel it right away. They waited a long time. So it's almost like they knew that I got the item and I was ready to ship it, and I invested like the time in doing this. And then they asked to cancel, and then I'd have to check my emails to even know this. Like, so no. No. And stores wouldn't do that either. If you purchase an item from a store, a lot of them won't cancel the next day. And this site doesn't even really allow returns, but they might, because they don't like chargebacks. But, that's up to them, what God allows them to do. But I've had so many attacks on my business. It's like, I told God, you don't want me to sell anymore, I won't. But right now, I'm still alone, and I still need to pay my bills. So until that changes, I'm going to continue selling. And I can't really list new items. This computer is slow. I can't upload a lot of stuff to it. It's got Microsoft Windows on it, and it's a mini PC, so it's kind of like a laptop. But Windows is really laggy and really slow. So I can't get my stock photos. They're on the other computer. I'm sure witchcraft was used in breaking that. I don't even know how much the items cost. Here's the items already listed with the price in them, so I knew this was going to be good. And, of course, let's buy one of the most expensive items you have and then cancel it the next day. No. It's going out. And I guess you can fuck me over any way you want. If God allows you to. That's what I thought. Like, let's hope there's not any problems. Oh, it's sold, or they placed an offer on Sabbath. I wonder, was this a spiritual attack? Every single time, like, almost all my orders come in on Sabbath, and they are attacks from the devil. I already said, I don't need to sell anymore. I was a great seller, and people didn't appreciate it. There's probably a lot of witchcraft used. I was an amazing seller. And then my ability to do things now is very limited because of my situation. Some things would be better here. Some things would be worse. But, I still do what I can. I try to be a good seller. It's just like every item that is gone sells. And then stuff sells on Sabbath when I can't ship it. And eBay changed my listing, so I'm supposed to ship, it looks like the next day or same day or it's late. This is ridiculous. And then people buy stuff on Sabbath. Like, this sucks. Spiritual attack. Let's see here. Now, I'm almost a half hour in and I haven't even talked about, okay. December 29th, 2025, what happened? Okay, I looked at my computer, and this morning it was 17 degrees. Actually, I had placed a carrier pickup for my 2 small items, and I was going to take the bike and take this one item that was larger to the post office because it was expensive. I didn't want to leave it out. So the item the person canceled, I didn't want to leave on my porch because I didn't want to risk someone stealing it. Nobody has messed with that stuff before. But somebody broke my umbrella. I had an umbrella hanging on my front door. They disassembled it and took a stem piece out and then left it there. So, I didn't want to leave this package there. I was going to drive it or bike it. I was going to bike it to the post office. And it's huge. So I had it in a bag and everything. So I had the carrier pickup scheduled for 2 small items. I said they're in my mailbox. Then the mailman didn't understand or didn't see it on there. So actually then before I had to get up to go to lunch, get a knock on my door. And then I get up real quick and I go to the door. And then they're walking away. It's the mailman. And I'm like, and I open it, and then he turns around, and he's like, asked, do you have packages? And then I open up the mailbox, and I get the 2 little ones out. And I said, I got one more bigger one in the house. Can I get it? And he's like, I'll be right back. And then I go get the other one. I hand it to him, and then it shows tracking at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is great. So I didn't have to bike it in. And actually, if I did have to bike it in, it might not have made it. My whole day might have been ruined. So I thought, this is a blessing from God. I get up and I wanted them to take it, but I didn't want to leave it on the porch because it was expensive and I didn't want it to get stolen. Then the mailman knocked on my door and then he took it. And I couldn't just schedule a knock on my door because I wasn't going to be home. But he happened to knock on my door 15 minutes before I was going to wake up. Amazing. That was great news. But there's much bad news later. Okay, anyways. I went to the soup kitchen for lunch. The bike man, I'm going to call him the bike man again. His name starts with a J too, I believe. The bike man said he found his Trek 720 and I mentioned how I had attached, like, I put my bike sideways so it would be in full view of the cameras. And he said, have faith. And so I know that he is a part of something. He just showed up, and I thought maybe he was a good person, like an angel. I thought maybe he was an angel sent to help me because of my situation, and I need transportation. So I thought he showed up just in time because somebody cursed my bike. So he's either involved in it or he's a good angel. I actually thought he was sent to help, but you never know. And I actually do think he was sent to help, but could just be another, scam. And then a clue maybe is that, like I said, people mess with my bike. I actually turned it sideways this time so that it was in full view of the camera, and you said have faith. And I said, I do. I'm being smart. Like, that I have to be smart. Like, I don't want to do something stupid, though. Like, make the angels work too hard to protect it. But I already knew the tires were going to go flat because a guy cursed it. A guy at the soup kitchen cursed my bike. He did that last week, so I knew it's any day now my tires are going to go flat. Today, they did. And it wasn't at the soup kitchen, but I did hear something from this man. This same man, the bike man. And he said people are always messing, like slashing his tires. And he said they'll even put little things in them, like spikes or something, in the tire so it goes flat later. And he said that, and I'm like, that's what happened. Someone did that so that when I went to the gym and I left the gym, my tire was flat. That's what happened. And he also mentioned something at dinner too, which is how they were messing with his bike at church, like what they do that at church. And then I looked at him like, so I thought maybe this man was an angel. It's just he just got out of jail and he doesn't seem like an angel. Okay, he just got out of jail and he's gonna try to buy a $40,000 house and split it with someone. Okay, but he's offering to help, and then this is later. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about lunch. But then he said I could help you. And so he wanted to know how big my tires were, and he wanted to help me. And then, then I come back like at dinner time late, and I'm like, someone got my bike. It's just when I said, so I think he's a good angel, but you never know. It could be another devil sent. It could be either one, but I do think he's probably a good person. Anyways, for lunch, there wasn't like really an attack at lunch. The man who has been trying to hit on me lately, and maybe he does actually like me, but I still think he's a counterfeit sent by the Kingdom of Darkness, or it's some test. So I don't think that this is like legitimate. Like, maybe he does like me, but that's not why he's doing this. Is because he's put up to it, is my opinion. But anyways, then I'm kind of sitting there alone and eating, and nobody's bothering me. That's fine. And I'm just kind of staring this way, and then I look, and then my eyes cross paths with this man. I'm like, oh. and then I just see him, and then I continue looking away. But then at that point, after that, then he does come over. He gets up a few seconds later. So I'm towards the back of the soup kitchen. He's towards the front. And I'm just kind of looking towards the front while I'm eating. I'm sitting alone, and then I happen to my eyes look, and then I notice he's there, and then he sees me like, oh shoot. Well, it wasn't like oh shoot, but I didn't mean to look at him. And then once I looked at him, then he got up and he walked down past me, and then he knocks the table in front of me, looks at me, and then he continues going. Okay. And then I get up to get coffee. Oh, that's what it was. At first, there was no coffee. The coffee came a minute after I sat down. So that I had to get up again. And so when I got up to get the coffee, then the bike man was there. Oh yeah, that's when he was talking to me and said he could help me, and told me to have faith about my bike. And I said I do have faith, but I have to, but I'm being smart. Not trying to make things worse. So, but anyways, then after we talk like for a minute, then I like walk past him. I'm going around back to my seat, and then I walk past the man who was been hitting on me recently, and then I walked past him, and then he said, "This is funny." He said, and then I didn't mean to walk past him. I was going to my seat, which was on the edge, so it was easier than going through and getting behind everybody's chairs. So I was just going back around to sit in my seat, and then I passed him on the way, and he said, I thought you were gonna give me a kiss. Like, I thought you came over here to give me a kiss. And I smiled I gave him a big smile, and I kept going. No, I was just smiling. Because, he's a counterfeit, I'm sure. They're all counterfeits. But I had a big smile on my face, and I kept going. Like, if I was allowed to date, then I probably would, but then this would be another enemy attack, and then my life would be ruined for another 10 years. So, let's see. Anyways, after this meal, then it was time to go, and I just head outside, and I'm like putting my bag in my bike basket and getting ready to go, and there's some people standing out there, and then I just got to talk to him a little bit, and like how something was said, and I'm like, you don't have a home? And so there was like 3 people out there, a woman and a man she was with, and then an older man. And then another man came over too, and I was asking them questions about the homeless shelter, and this woman, basically, they were all unhappy with the homeless shelters. They're sleeping in a tent, and they put blankets on top of the tent. The tent to them is better than the homeless shelters. So apparently there were 2 homeless shelters for women. One of them has already shut down. This is a town of 35,000 people. There were 2 homeless shelters for women. One is shut down. One is left. And she was saying it was really bad. Like, they take all your cards. They take all your stuff when you go in. They charge you 50 cents to stay a night. They charge you 50 cents to take a shower. Now, it's not that this is unreasonable. It's that these people, she said, we're homeless. We don't have any money. She doesn't have any money. She doesn't have the 50 cents. Maybe she could go ask someone for the 50 cents. But she didn't have the 50 cents. I think that what was mentioned before that, though, was the control. They take all of your personal stuff. And so maybe they have a reason to do that. But there's only one shelter in the whole city of 35,000 people for women. And there's another shelter for families. There's a shelter nearby for men. They can only keep so many people. So this woman and man, I don't know if they're dating or, they might be. I don't know. But maybe they're just friends. They are living in a tent, and to keep warm at night, they cuddle. I guess they might just be friends. I don't know. But, like, they were really upset with the, and then other guys came up, and they were complaining about how bad these homeless shelters were. And how they got treated, and so I didn't really expect that. Now, there are addicts that go there that cause trouble. That's true, but, these people, I don't think they were really causing trouble. I don't know. But if they don't have 50 cents, they're homeless, then they can't take a shower. So I think that's a little, because this isn't enough to pay anybody. That's not going to help them pay the bills. That's just kind of like stopping people from being able to stay and stopping people from taking a shower. So then I said, well, I guess we have to be restored and we have to make the good shelters. And then they all liked that and they agreed with that. And I got back home. It was freezing, actually. It was 17 degrees and it was real. It's not even the cold so much as the wind. It was real windy. The wind was blowing stuff around, and I'm on my bike and I'm getting blown. So actually, as I'm heading to the downtown area, the wind is blowing, and then my bike kind of goes in the other lane. Like, I get blown. Now, there's only one car, and it just started coming, so I was fine. But my bike like goes, and then I bike back in, so I'm getting blown around. It's not really safe. Like, you're biking, then you just feel it's like bicycle skating here, bicycle skating again. This was from the wind. The ground was pretty clear at this point. It was really cold, but there wasn't really snow or anything. It was just the wind, and there was some dew that was icy. Um, so I got back. It was so sweet. My dogs were really happy. They were like prancing and, just behaving in a way like they wanted attention and they were happy to see me, and that was real sweet. Then I went to the gym. The gym was fine. I just used the spa and I used the massage chairs a long time. And then it's like, okay, time to go. And then I go to get on my bike, and someone had just left, and someone was coming, and I start to bike, and I'm like, something's wrong. And then my tire was flat. At the gym, someone messed with it at the gym, or actually the man at dinner, the bicycle man at dinner said somebody put things in his tires so they would go flat. When he said that to me, I think that's what happened. I think someone at the soup kitchen puts like a spike or something, or poked my tire, or maybe they put something in it so it would go flat later. This is probably because he mentioned that. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Maybe someone at Planet Fitness, but normally people do not mess with those bikes. Like, there's a glass front and they can see the bikes. Like, the staff can see the bike. So it's more likely this was done at the soup kitchen. And it was someone at the soup kitchen that cursed me already. So, and then, like, this was destined to be. This was meant to happen. Because when they said, oh, it sounds like your tire's going flat. It's losing air. And I said, oh, yeah, I think you're right. I need to put more air in it. I said that, so I agreed with their spell. But it just rolled out of my mouth. I didn't have time to think. So sometimes God almost, like, speaks for me. And I ask God, speak for me, speak through me, And this, like, I didn't have, like, this is something normally I would think about. No, it just came right out of my mouth that I agreed with this. No time to stop it. And so sometimes things are meant to happen, and I don't even have a chance to, like my brain didn't even go there. I just spoke. And then, like, oh no, I knew I'm on borrowed time now with my bicycle. But I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm supposed to have a meeting to the Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. They were supposed to show me around their facilities. So I don't even know what's going on with that now. Because I'm not going to probably have enough time. I'm going to be at the soup kitchen. That's like 4.5 miles away. Even with 2 hours to get there. And then it could be really cold. I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm thinking, like, I'm either supposed to reschedule, get a ride, or something else. Anyways, when I was leaving the gym, I saw a vehicle coming in. It might have been somebody I recognized. It might not have been. Then I started biking out. And then on my way to the light, it's like, I got a flat tire. It's hard to pedal. It's flat. And then I start biking. I bike for like a half mile anyways on a flat tire. And then I start walking it. Because I was going faster biking on the flat tire, but it's like, then I just started walking. I was hoping to even go to the bank too. I had enough time to stop at the bank and go to the soup kitchen. But no, then I ended up being late for the soup kitchen. So, so I had to go like 3.5 miles to the soup kitchen from the gym. And so I started biking, and it was like going a lot slower than normal, and the tire's flat. And then I just gave up and started walking. I asked God, like, to send me a ride. If you have a ride, send a ride. And if not, then I'll walk. And so I walked. And I did show up 15 minutes late. I could have been there, stop at the bank, and then be there on time. Instead, I didn't get to go to the bank, and I was 15 or 20 minutes late. So, see how long. Maybe it took me an extra half hour to get there. I was kind of walking quickly, but, a bike is much faster. So anyways, I got there for dinner, and I saw the man who works at the soup kitchen on the way in. He was coming out, and I said, oh, someone got my bike, and I told him that I needed to, like, there is a charity that builds bikes for people that can't afford it. And so I told him about that, and then he continued, he was doing something else. Then I went in. And so I went in, I got my food. The bike man was there again, and he was talking more. And I said, "Someone got my bike." He's like, "People always get my bike." And then he said, this finger was broke. I can heal it." And he said something weird, like his finger was shaking. He said he could heal his finger. Not, when I see this, I don't immediately think, "Oh, he can heal the finger." I don't think that. Like, I don't know what this is. I just kind of ignored that. And I said, and I told him, and he was like, "Well, I can help. I've got, all these bike parts and stuff." And I said, "Well, I said, thank you. It's really nice." And then I was thinking, and he told me his address. It had 22 in it. 22. um, and it's just, at this point, I can't believe anyone wanting to help me for no reason at all. And I said, every time somebody gives something, it's cursed. And nobody actually wants to help. Every time they want to help, it's just to get me. And I told him that. And I said, "What do you believe in God? You believe in the..." And I made him, like, swear to God, but he didn't swear to God. There's no ulterior motive. And he didn't swear to God. He didn't. But there probably is an ulterior motive. But he still might be good. Maybe the ulterior motive is something else I need to do. Maybe there is an ulterior motive, but it's not something bad. So he did not swear to God on that. But he said he believes in God, and he asked if I was a Christian, and I said I would call myself a Christian, but there are many beliefs, and some are right and some are wrong. So I couldn't say that. And then he said he believed in, like, many different religions, and but really, many of these religions, where they originated from God. It's just that, they became organized religion and then were differentiated later. So yes, God did speak to people in different countries at different times. That's true. And actually, like, the Muslims, Christians, and Jews, and even Hindus, and all these other groups, like, they probably did all stem from one God. I can't say every single one, but probably they did. There is one creator God, and truths have been revealed to people all throughout the ages. Now, those were not supposed to be organized religions, but sometimes they do help people, and sometimes they can do more good than bad. But anyways, as I said, like, I would call myself a Christian, but there are many beliefs, and some of those beliefs are true and some of them aren't. It's like some churches are on the right track and some aren't. So you can't just call yourself a Christian. Because some believe that it doesn't matter if you sin, and that the blood sacrifice of Jesus gets you to heaven, and this is wrong. And others believe that, yes, you do have to follow the law and to repent. If they don't teach repentance, it is not from God. So it's like, you can't really say, like, I'm this religion. And if they say it's okay to eat pork, then I'm not. Like, so if the Christians would say we have to follow the law and we're not allowed to eat pork, then I could say I was a Christian, but they don't. They have all gotten together and agreed that even though God says it's an abomination, it doesn't matter. We're allowed to eat it anyways. And even though Jesus says that, you show your love by being obedient to the law, I don't remember the exact verse, but anyways, it was translated. Those who love me, follow, you know what I'm saying. I could get the Bible out right now, but I'm not going to do it. Those who love me, follow the law, or if you don't, I don't know you if you don't visit the sick, and if you read the red letters, and you read what Jesus says, okay, then a lot of churches ignore that, and they listen to, or they follow the epistles of Paul instead. So, anyways, I don't need to say, I said I'm a believer. I believe in God. I believe the same God that Jesus believed in. And do I need to tell people I'm a member of Jesus Christ's army? I'm a member of the Christ army? You can be too. You can be. Maybe you already are. Maybe you already are. But also, I can't say that I'm a Christian. I can be in Christ's army, but I can't say that I'm a Christian. And they just want you to agree with everything. And sometimes they're wrong. And sometimes they're right. Usually they're right more of the time, but not always. But like you have to agree to their authority, and if they happen to be wrong on something and you tell them, then you get ostracized. So um, we'll see how it goes. Anyways, um, also as I was walking like downtown, then I just looked and I saw there was a 22 on, and then I'll just look, I'll see 22s and 17s on dresses, and then I looked and there was like a clothing store, it had 22 on it. It's weird because I wasn't paying any attention to any addresses, and I look and I'm like, oh, here's a 22. I didn't know that. um let's see here. So anyways, and then he said, oh, well, this charity also, and then, so he mentioned to help me get the bike, and I'm like, well, thank you. And so he was busy that evening, and it was really cold. Um, but then I went into the office, and, or actually I asked somebody, like, the man that works here, is he gone? Because the office door was closed. And they're like, this woman said, oh, no, he's in the back still. I'm like, oh, good, because I need to, sign up for this bike charity thing, which there is a wait list. It takes a while. And then I talked to her a little bit, and then I was talking to the other man, and I said, nobody does anything, or, I was saying, people give me stuff, and there's like a curse, it's never actually, like, there's no ulterior motive, or, I don't know the exact words I said. She's like, yep, nothing's free. And, like, we talked for, like, we just talked, like, a couple sentences, and, she understood, like, spiritual warfare. I could tell based on what she said. And then at this point, I am testing the spirit. I actually believe this man could be an angel sent from heaven in the form of somebody that got out of jail and is trying to reform their life and buy a $40,000 house with someone else. He told me this. And I was like, actually, that would be good. And he doesn't have a cell phone either. I thought that was, like, because I said, well, how do you normally contact people? Because I could have taken, he wanted to know how big my wheels were. And I said, how do you normally contact people? Do you have a cell phone? He said, no, I don't have any, like, he doesn't really have a way to contact people. And I said, I don't have one either. I'm like, okay, I'll just be back, so I can measure it and then come back, But, let's see here. But anyways, the bike man, let's call him the bike man, basically kept telling me to take the bus, and like, it's only $1, and then we were outside and there was another man who was older there too, and he was going to give me $1, and I was like, anytime somebody gives me something, it's cursed. And then he's like, he's a good man. I said, do you believe in God? He's like, yeah. It's like, thank you. I said, I can't, every time somebody gives me something, it's got strings attached. And so I did take his $1, but I'm like, it's probably cursed. Just like when I took that Merry Christmas basket, it happened to be the next day that my tire was flat. Oh, I'm sure there was no relation there. Or how it went from 50 degrees to 17 degrees, and with the wind chill, who knows how cold that was. Like, my face was turning bright red from the cold. Let's see. Like, I had to put on this it's like a scarf, but it's like one piece you slide over your head. I had to put that on. It was still my face turning bright red. So then the other man, he gave me, then after I made him say, do you believe in God? Then I took the $1, I'm like, thank you. And then he walked me to the bus. Oh, actually, when I was talking to the man I think he's the man that runs the soup kitchen, then he asked me some questions. I'm going to get to this first. So then I signed up for the bike charity, and now I had to give him he asked me my address. I gave him my address. Now he knows where I live. And then he asked, and he was surprised, like, that I was by myself. It's like, no family? No family. Like, nope, just God. He asked me, like, he was going to ask, like, what kind of income I have. And I said, I sell stuff, like, like, what, do you have a store, or is it online? I said, like, on eBay and Poshmark and stuff. And then he's like, oh, he didn't even write it down. He's like, oh, okay, it's not much. Because they don't consider that, yeah, it sucks now. So he thought, he was worried about income. Do you have a job? And I said, well, I sell. And they're like, do you have a store? well, it's on like eBay and Poshmark. It's like, oh, okay, so he didn't write it, and he, like, I was qualified. um, and then he asked my height, based on like what kind of bike you get. And then he asked me like and I told him like just quickly summarize some of my story as to why I was here and I was alone and like God basically like why did you decide to move here? And I said because I had to move. I told him a little of my story and then I started looking at houses like lowest price first, closest to where I was, and then I saw this house and I kept thinking about it over and over again, and so then I had to see it. So I said God moved me here. God would have placed that in my heart. Like, this is my house here. I have to go see it. But anyways, back there about the bike guy telling me to take the bus. Another man was just there, gave me the $1. It's only $1 to take the bus. Yeah, when you take it back and forth 6 times a day, then that's $6 a day. That's $6 a day times 30. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying, right? What's 6 times 3? That's $180 a month, isn't it? That's not. I mean, you could buy a pass, but that's $40 a month, and really, I was trying not to spend any money, and I guess that's reasonable for a lot of people. But the bus doesn't stop everywhere you want it to, and it only stops like twice an hour. So it's not that convenient. Like if I had my bike, I can get to where I'm going in less time than it takes to wait for the bus. But biking, I get out of breath and it's cold. So actually you can be comfortable, sit in the bus station. So you know what? That was a lot nicer. That was a lot nicer. Anyways, then as me, so the bike man has his bike and now he is left. And he is biking. I believe he's biking home or he's taking the bus. He's putting his bike on the bus. I think this is what's happening. I'm not sure. He had his bicycle. It was on the rack. And then the other man that gave me the $1, he walked with me. He said he hadn't taken the bus in this town. Or so, I don't know what he said. But anyways. And then as we start walking, he's like, you don't look like you belong at the soup kitchen. And I said, well, why is that? He said, it looks like you have it together. And, so he meant everybody else. No one has it together. And I said, I got a lot of enemies. And just like basically break and steal all my stuff for years. And then here I am. And I said, well, what's your story? And he just kind of said like, something that didn't really, just something that didn't really matter. And then we keep walking. And then as we keep going and and I said, is this the bus stop? No, and we keep going like a block or two. And then the bus stop is like 2 blocks up. And then on the way, he's like, I don't need to come here. I've got some money. You go out to dinner and hang out after? And I said, no. No. I didn't explain any reason why. I'm like, no, I don't. I said, no. But then we kept walking. And then here's the bus station. And then I didn't really understand how it worked. And then the woman that was in there, then she, so this man asked me if I would go out to eat with him and then hang out. You know what this means. He said, there's some good place, I can take you a nice dinner. I said, no, that's okay. I said, no, thank you. I said, no, I don't. I didn't know if I said no, thank you. I said, no. I just said no, and he kept walking. So I think he asked this to everybody. Have some. So the woman that I saw in the place earlier, and she was like, yeah, nothing's for free. And she said that. And then she happened to be here in the bus station, too. This was a divine appointment. And then I didn't really know how to ride the bus, because there's like 8 different buses, and then I had to figure out which one was going by my house. And then I said, well, which one is by this location? And then she said, oh, you probably want to take this line. And so then I looked at it, and I kind of understood how it worked then. I just had never taken one. I said, I'd never take one since I live here because you need money, and I don't have any money. It's like I never have money, so I guess I could have charged it with a credit card. But anyways, I did not do that. It cost me, back when I had a car, it cost me $1 a day to drive. So to take the bus would have cost twice that much. So I never would have taken the bus. And now, and then I normally don't have cash. But I do realize that they take credit cards, so it's possible. the car insurance continues to come out of my account. But anyways, then I overhear she is now talking. So the man that came with me, he asked me to dinner and then to hang out. Then he asked her if she wants to hang out, if she wants to go to dinner and hang out. And it was kind of funny. He asked her like the same thing. And she says, no, I don't do that. But basically, I overheard her talking to him. And like she's in this horrible relationship. And then I kind of overhear it after. And like I tried to mention, but they were busy talking. And then finally she kind of hears what I said. And she's not trying to ignore me. She was just talking to him. And just complaining about how horrible her relation, like the guy she was with cheated on her and she caught him. And then I'm like, what, you were the guy that did all this? And and then he punched her teeth out. It was horrible. Like, he got your teeth and you're still with him? I'm like, oh, you gotta leave him. And then I was trying to get out, what a narcissist, finally I was able to, because she was talking to this other man. And she said, yeah, I seen he was the devil. Or, no, I seen, like, his eyes turned black. I said, mine turned into a green serpent. And it's not going to get better. Leave him. It's not going to get better. And then she said how at the soup kitchen, this man that's there, he cheated on her with, I think, one of the volunteers or someone else there. And I think she said he cheated on her with one of the volunteers. And then he acts like she doesn't matter. And then also, like, the people that come and help at the soup kitchen, or like the staff, they think he's a great guy and like him. And then they just ignore, like, they don't care about her. So they think he's a great guy when he's a big narcissist. And then I told her, there's spirits in them. They use curses and spells. They're probably under a spell. And I told her, so maybe she will remember this. She'll remember this because she was probably not feeling. I said, you got to leave this guy. Leave this guy. And I said, I was with mine was yours had black eyes. I don't know what kind of demon that is. There's more than one type of Nephilim. I hear many times narcissist manifesting, and the black eyes. This is something you often hear. Not mine. Mine had big yellow cat eyes with tiny little black pupils, and he was a humanoid serpent that was bright green. So he was a different kind. But I said, mine was a serpent. I said, it's not going to get better. And then she was like, yeah, the people in the office, she said, I know I should, but there's like a trauma bond. So you got to leave him. And I said, they have spirits, they use curses and spells. And so these people are probably, in the office, the volunteers, they're probably under a spell. I said, I've seen it. I've seen what they look like when they're under a spell. Actually, I don't know if I said that, but I said enough. And then the man that was with her was like, oh, you better go, you don't want to be late. And so then I did leave. And then I was standing out there in the cold, and I had like 6 minutes left, and and then the bus I needed to get on, the door was closed. The other buses, the doors were open. For some reason, my bus, the door was closed. And so, but then this, like, after I'm standing there in the cold, like for 2 minutes, like, I kind of start to walk back in, and she's talking to him, and they're talking. So, like, when I mentioned, and mine was a serpent, then he was like, you better go. So he probably didn't want me telling her too much. He didn't want me to tell her too much, I guess. But then he starts to talk to her, and they're talking some more. And this is fine. Like, he's smaller than she is, I think. Or maybe there's, like, he's shorter, probably heavier, and she's taller and thinner. But she's not going to go on a date with him or anything. She said, I already got enough. She said, I already got enough trouble. I don't need any more, or something. She said something like that, And then after I told her that, it looked like she was interested in what I had to say. But then he's like, you better go. You don't want to miss your bus. This is the first time I had taken it, so I didn't even think about it. So I just start to head out. And then I go to my bus. The door is closed. It's cold. I stand out there for like a minute. Then I start to come back in. And then as the door opened, I see she's over there standing next to the man, and they're just talking. So I'm like, okay. Then I just head back out to the bus. Like I said what I needed to say. And that's enough. That's enough for the first time. And then I see my bus. The number of my bus is 1070. My bus that was, so basically, it's in the bus line. The bus, the bus, oh my gosh, so the phone number for this bus, it's the area code, then it's, so I'm not going to say the area code because I don't want to say, like, you can figure out where I live if you go watch all my videos, but I'm not going to say it right here. So it's something, the first area code I'm not going to say. And then the numbers, the phone number is 2222, and then it's something, something, something. So the phone number is number 2222 number. In like my town, there's oh my gosh, and then after that, there's a parentheses probably for a number you can put after that. You know, when they say, what's your extension number? And the extension number has my birth year at the end. So it's like number, my birth year. I cannot make this up. I cannot make this, I'm not a novelist, I'm not an author. I'm not a journalist, I'm not an author. I don't sit and imagine stories. Okay, I have no, it's not that I wouldn't be able, I have no desire and no interest to make up fake stories. This is true. So the phone number for this bus line, okay, first of all, the bus I was going on, the bus number was 1070, which is a 17. And then the phone number that's on this little pamphlet right here, there's a phone number right here. It says number 2222 number. Then extension number my birth year. And if I add those up, and the extension, if I add up all the numbers, there's 4 numbers in the extension. If I add them up, it is the day I was born. So at the end of these numbers is the year I was born, and if I add up those numbers, it is the day I was born. And then it has 2222 in there. And the number on the bus was 1070. So maybe this woman now, like, she knows this is a bad guy. She knows he's horrible. She knows he's a narcissist. She saw him manifest, his eyes turned black. He cheats on her. And she still has a trauma bond, and I tell her to leave him. You know, maybe she will now. But, you know, maybe just saying, like, how the volunteers liking him, think he's a great guy. I said they probably have a spell. They use witchcraft. He probably put a spell on him. So maybe she didn't consider this, because she does know their spirits. And then, like, maybe that's why people are against, or like him, is because he is casting spells on them. So anyways, wow, there's that. What else is on my list? Is this about it? Oh, while I was in the office, like, you have to get a recommendation for this bike charity. It is a Christian charity that builds bikes for poor people that can't afford bikes. So I am many thousands of dollars in debt, so I would say I cannot afford a bike. And I had a bike that was really nice, and that was destroyed. And then I got another bike from someone who I thought was an ally, but was really an enemy. And then that bike was now destroyed. So maybe God will bless me by fixing that one, and then I still get... Oh, and also, after I told the man who works at the soup kitchen, who, I think he is, like, trying to get me out. I think he maybe is an enemy, but he's, like, a good man that does something bad. And I told him my story, and, and he, you know, asked, you got a new friend, like, if I had a new family, or, you know, he saw my area code. So I had to give him my address, and I had to give him my phone number. And he saw my phone number was not from this. And where are you from? I said, Columbus. He's like, everybody's from Columbus. He was from Columbus. I was like, why'd you come here? So he knew where I was from. And then just when we were talking, you know, then he didn't know it was just me. It's like, you don't have any family here? I'm like, nope, just me and God. Do you have a job? I said, God doesn't allow me to have a job. God never allowed me to have a job. You know, something would happen to keep me, like, they got my car, they got my washer, they got, you know, God does not allow me to have a job. And if I tried to bike to a job, now my bike is gone. So God does not. So anyways, then he filled the thing out. He said it should take 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be less. He said they'll get you a good bike. I didn't put in. I didn't say what kind of bike I want. I didn't say nothing. He just asked my height. That was it. He said they'll get you a good bike. So, and it sounded like, maybe God's veiling me again. It sounded like they were going to get me a good bike, and he wanted them to get me a good bike. Is actually, so maybe God will bless me, as in my other bike tire will get fixed. The bike will still be usable, but then I'll get another bike too. That way, when one breaks, I've got it. I can go between the two. That's really what you need in this town. Oh, and the woman that was there, the woman that I was at the bus station with, she mentioned she had a really nice bike, and I think she got it from this charity, and it was stolen. So someone stole her, and that's why I think it was stolen from the soup kitchen. So if she is going to repent, if she's a good person, just like, still has her demons that need exorcised. So that's why they're attacking her. That's why people in the soup kitchen, some of them are turned away from her because she's good. But she's still with that narcissist, and she needs to, break free from them. That's an exorcism. It's like, what do you call, like, casting out spirits and things. Well, sometimes it's just you don't talk to people. Like, they're actually just people that are in your life that you disassociate from. And that is an exorcism. No, not an exorcism. I forget what it's called. Like, I heard this a while back, and then I thought about it. Like, not an exorcism, but like there are spirits that are targeting you or possessing you. But some of that is like, here's someone you're dating, and then you just have to stop talking to them, and that's like, that's like getting an exorcism. Anyways, so she got a nice bike from there, and then she had a lock on it. It wasn't locked to something. It was probably locked to itself. Somebody stole. She got a nice bike, and she mentioned, like, she probably got it from the same charity. But because it was stolen, she probably couldn't get another one from them because it was gone. Like, maybe they don't let you get two. I don't know. But she might be able to. She said, I should try to ask, but, like, I should try. But she assumed that she couldn't because they already got her one, and then someone stole it. And then the bike man that was there is like, yeah, that's why I heard I probably shouldn't come here because what happens to the bikes? And I was like, yeah, and the addicts and things, they don't care. They don't want to mess with bikes. I said, people pay him. Pay them to do it. He's like, yeah, and who's paying them? Or, who's paying them to damage the bikes? Because they're not going to damage someone's bikes for no reason, possibly get in trouble. They don't even care. They just want to get their necks fixed. They're not thinking ahead like, oh, let me sabotage this person's bike. No, they don't care. Someone's paying them. They get $20 or something, and then they go and damage the bicycle. That's what happens. Who is paying them? And so, like, he understood what I was saying, but then that was the end of that conversation. This is not something to know yet. I have my suspicions, is that, yeah, I know there was a narcissist at first, and I know he was doing things, but I believe there are people working for the soup kitchen now. That have infiltrated the soup kitchen, and they are involved. So we'll see for a future video. What's that? To be continued. That kind of stopped there. Because I think he knew where I was going, but it wasn't time yet. It's not time yet. This is for later. Need to learn more, get more information. But anyways, today, I don't know for sure, but it looked like the man that worked there. He filled it out, and he wanted me to get a good bike. You know what? Maybe he wants me to get a good bike because now he has my address, and they can cast a whole bunch more spells and come out here and harass me right next to my house. They can come harass me and cast spells on my house now. They have my address. They've been really trying hard to get my address, and now they have it. So then he does want me to have a nice bike because he's got something else. Maybe that's it. Or maybe he really, maybe he likes me now. I don't think so. I think he's trying to, but he's still going to be jealous because of the anointing that God has placed. God has an anointing for me. Every person has a calling. And it's like in the Quran when it says, do not distinguish between the prophets. Like, don't think of some. Doesn't matter what they've done. Don't elevate one prophet above another. Don't venerate one higher than the other. Even if one only wrote a book and one raised a child, like they're all equal in the kingdom of heaven. Because they were all righteous. So they were all equally righteous. That's what we're judged on. So the acts they did, the heroic acts, like how many awards they got, that type of thing. Don't judge them on that. So this is what I'm saying to them. But they get jealous. And so even if they don't want to, I don't know. But maybe it sounded like he wanted me to get a good bike, and maybe he felt guilty about something before, but I don't know. That's just the impression I have. I don't know. Because now he has my address. That's fine. I already told people before. Pharisees, my ex, my whole family, they all know where I live. That's why I don't even really care. I didn't put my address out there. I don't care. God will protect me. But, now, like, I don't know. This last year, I've just been more careful, especially recently. And it's not that I'm concerned, but I don't want to displease God. So I don't want to, like, do something, even though God will protect me no matter what. I don't want to bring more trouble, I don't want to have to make the angels work harder to guard my property, if that makes sense. Even though God can do all things. But, like, I'm still trying to be smart. Like with my bike, yes, I have faith. Yes, I trust God. But I'm trying to be smart, too. I don't want to invite trouble. But yeah, I was testing the spirits. Even though I thought this bike man was an angel, like when he saw my bike, oh, cool bike, I got one too. I thought this is probably an angel, but maybe he's another enemy. I don't know. But he had a 22 in his address. But I was still, then I'm testing the spirits. I'm like, oh, thank you. I said, and you worship the one living God, and there's no ulterior motive. And then it's kind of funny. I said, because nobody wants to help me for free. It always comes with strings attached, or it's a curse, or it's a spell, or a hailstorm comes, and I take something. He's like, no, I just want to help. People mess with my bike. And I said, and I see, and you see how you're a man, and I'm a woman. And I said, I'm single, but I'm not available. And he's like, yeah. This is funny. I gotta say this. Because I did not see that. I don't think, it doesn't look like it now, but they try. They always do. They always do. Because they're counterfeits. But anyways, I don't think this was an angle. But now I'm testing the spirits as we are commanded to do. We test the spirits to make sure they're from God. So now I'm trying to be obedient to God here. Because, everybody that is a traitor, they come off and they look like they're on my side at first. So this time, I actually suspect this man is an angel. But now I'm really testing the spirit to be sure. If people are watching this, they're probably laughing. Like, if aliens, humanoids from other worlds that God has created are watching this, they're probably laughing their asses off. Like, I already suspect this man's probably good. He's probably helping. I don't know. Maybe he's another enemy. Because I kind of thought, like, is this an angel? Because my bike is cursed now. And then he shows up after my bike is cursed. So either that, he's a good angel, or he's in cahoots with all of them and he was brought in. So I don't know. And I said, and I don't have any money right now, but maybe later, I'll be doing better. And he's like, yeah, I just want to help, Or he said, I just want to help. Like, I had a lot of things happen to my bike. And I said, you're a man and I'm a woman. And I'm single, but I'm not available. And he's like, yep. Like, good. Good. Now, we made that clear. So actually, he only lives a mile from me, so I might walk my bike down there soon, and maybe he'll be able to fix it. Amazing. Or he'll have a trap laid and try to kill me. but God protects me. But I did hear the 22 and some other things said. So I think this could be good. Let's see. Well, there's more in the back here. Yeah, the bus let me out at the hospital near my house. And I got a little disoriented, and then I ended up walking the wrong way. I wanted to walk past this bar to see if the previous owner was there. He's there a lot. And he wasn't, but the wind was really blowing. It was quite a bit cold. Then I mentioned, like, I texted the missionaries back because I had a meeting tomorrow evening. They were going to show me all around their church, and I just texted to let them know my bike tire went flat and I don't know if I'll make it. But basically what has happened is that when I went in for dinner, and then one of the volunteers who doesn't like me, I don't think, but it seems like maybe he does, and then he does, like maybe he's a human and he's still got some demons, and those demons don't like me. But anyways, but he actually, I don't know, like maybe it's both. But anyways, this is where God has put me, and I went up to him, like, because he was nice to me at first, and I thought, and it wasn't until I showed up at the church and someone liked me that then I saw like a little. So it wasn't from the beginning. It was after I went to his church, and then someone's like, look at my new friend, and went to him, and then he was like, so now, then I didn't realize at that time that woman was the witch. She was probably showing me to him as a target. Oh my gosh. To his spirits. But anyways, in the beginning, he didn't dislike me. So it was not who I am as a person. It's not like me. It's the God, the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit in me, I think. I don't know. But maybe he's going to come around. Because he thought I had a nice bike. And then when it was light out and he got to see it better the next day, he saw, oh, maybe it's not as nice as I thought. Oh, these lights are just from Temu. They're not expensive. So I showed him that. So then he wasn't. I don't think he was jealous about that anymore. Because when my bike got taken, when my bag got taken, he had my bag. And then I got the bag, and then, oh, there was surprise, like no secret potions or anything, or talismans in there. It was just like a couple of wrenches, and like some deodorant, my bike lights. So then I got my bike lights out to show him. I got my bike lights out to show him, and I said, oh, this really fancy looking one was on Temu for $8. These two rear lights are like two for $2.50, but if somebody steals them, then I can get run over. And I showed him that. Like, oh, these are the lights. It was on your bike before, so I thought you had a fancy bike. No, I put the light on it, and it's just something cheap on Temu, which the other people that go to that meeting love Temu too. And then he saw, oh, there's a rip on my bike seat. Oh, this has got cosmetic wear there. It doesn't look as nice. Because he saw it in the dark at night. And he's like, you got a nice bike. And then you could see it. Oh, wait. It is a nice bike. But this bike is like 25 years old. Anyways. And it actually looked better when I got it. And now that I've been using it, it's got some wear on it. Anyways. But what has happened is I told him, then I was going through to get my pizza, because they had cake, pizza, and chips tonight. not a lot. So probably right around the holidays, many of their regular volunteers are gone. So then he was there, and I said, someone got my bike, and I said, well, where do you normally go after the meeting? And so they have their normal 11:30 meeting, and then there's the meal there. Who knows if there'll be pepperoni again, like there has been at every other event. And then there's something else at 1, and then there's something else, and then he goes to the soup kitchen again for dinner. And so I'm going to walk, and he said, I can take you. So basically he offered to drive me to these things, and you go to the soup kitchen for dinner. I have to walk to this church and get there. And then after that, he's going to drive me and then even take me to dinner. So I don't know what's going on here. So then after that, I don't know. I might have to walk back home again. Or maybe I'll meet with the bike man. Am I going to have a chance to meet with these missionaries? I don't know. Maybe if I get home quickly. Then I can see if they've texted me back. Since I don't have a cell phone, if they don't respond to me in the morning, then I'll have to wait till after dinner. So who knows what's going on? I don't know what my plan is tomorrow. So maybe this is God's plan, that I don't know what's going on, so that they can't like set up a bunch of traps for me, because I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. But I am going to be with this one man from the soup kitchen. Um, I'm going to be, like, he's driving me and probably another woman to the meetings. So I'll go with them there. Maybe I need to write a few things down on my little notepad. So this is quite a long video. This is December 29th. Now it's the 30th. December 29th, 2025. Still not restored. I guess, like, there's just a whole bunch of things lined up and nothing good has happened yet. So who knows? Okay, thanks for watching. God bless you.